Again, thanks for introducing the talk and for the opportunity. I'll just move straight to the outline for my presentation, which is I'll just walk over a brief introduction to phosphoproteomics. I'll introduce you to the sample preparation workflow. Then I will talk a bit about the MS methods that we tested with the Orbitrap Astral Mass Spectrometer and the 40 samples per day Whisper method. Then I'll move on to an evaluation of the new 80 SPD and 120 SPD Whisper Zoom methods. And finally, if time allows, I have a few slides on an application example where we use the 80 SPD Whisper Zoom gradient on a high throughput setup where we looked into chemo agents in triple negative breast cancer and profiled the phosphoresponse. So what do we talk about when we talk about phosphoproteomics? Well, we study protein phosphorylation, which is the addition of a phosphate group to proteins done by protein kinases. It's reversible. It can be removed again by protein phosphatases. And why is this important to study? Well, phosphorylation plays a key role in many protein regulatory functions. I just highlight some of them here to the right. It can affect protein localization, activity, turnover. It can introduce conformational changes and so on. It's basically essential to all cellular signaling pathways and also important for drug development as many small molecule inhibitors actually target protein kinases and thus affect protein phosphorylation. So how do you do it? How do you study protein phosphorylation? Well, it's important to know that it's a low abundant modification, so there is a need for specific enrichment. In the cell, phosphorylation mainly occurs on serine, threonine, and tyrosines, where the vast majority of phosphorylations are on serine residues, and the very minor fraction of phosphorylations is on tyrosine, but nonetheless a quite important phosphorylation. To study it, there's a need for robust and sensitive sample preparation workflows, and it's a big topic in the group of Jesper Olsen that I'm working in, and work done by Patricia while she was visiting our group is this MCP paper looking into systematic optimization for phosphoproteomics. And here we could identify around these 30,000 phosphopeptides from 500,000 HeLa cells with the 40 SPD Whisper method. Again, to do it, it's important again to have in mind the need for specific enrichment. And here we use these magnetic microparticles with chelated zirconium ions and use these to chelate phosphopeptides in our samples. Before moving on to the more practical part, I thought it would be interesting to briefly have a look at the phosphoproteomics in a historical perspective. And there's been a lot of advancements towards higher sensitivity and faster analysis. If we start back in the days in 2006 with Jesper's cell paper, he used a pre-enrichment input of around 10 to 20 milligrams and got around 6,000–7,000 phosphopeptides. This was improved in 2015 with the EasyPhos method by Sean Humphrey. And here the input amount was reduced to around 1 to 2 milligram. In 2022, we had Dr. Becky Jensen's paper with the DIA, where it was further reduced input amount to 200 microgram, and I think it was around 20,000 phosphorylation sites identified here. And again, Patricia's paper with a further reduction in input to around 30,000 phosphopeptides. And with this presentation today, I hope I can convince you that we can go even further down in input amount with the new Whisper Zoom methods. So for sure, with time, we have higher sensitivity and we have improved more than 10,000 or more than 1,000-fold in the input material needed for a very good numbers. So for this comparison and the method optimization, we of course need a source of protein and a source of phosphopeptides. And here we use cell lysates, and I have used HeLa cells that were serum starved and then stimulated with EGF for 8 minutes. And if we dive into the biology of what's happening in the cell dish, we have activation of the receptor tyrosine kinase, EGFR, which leads to its dimerization, autophosphorylation, and then activation of downstream signaling cascades, which mainly involves a lot of phosphorylation. And we use these lysates, so control lysates and EGF stimulated in our sample preparation setup, as you see illustrated here. We have the cell lysates, we digest them into peptides, so we use protein aggregation capture to purify the proteins. We digest with the trypsin and lyc on bead, and then I've tested different pre-enrichment input amounts as listed here, and used the Kingfisher for phospho-enrichment and the zirconium IMAC beads. And then samples were loaded onto EvoTips, and we used the EvoSep1 coupled to the Orbitrap Astral mass spectrometer, and I've tested the 40 SPD Whisper method as well as the 80 SPD and 120 SPD Whisper Zoom methods, and all data was searched in SpectroNaut. So for the method optimization test, we used the 40 SPD Whisper gradient. We tested different isolation windows and restricted injection times, and you see the results here. All sites are listed in light blue and the localized sites in dark blue. And I hope you can see here that it's really for the narrow window, so 2 to 4 Thomson, that we get around 15 to 20,000 phosphosites for the 5 to 40 microgram pre-enrichment input. Looking a bit further into these 4 methods and evaluating method performance in terms of CVs, the best method will really be the best compromise between quantity and quality. And when we look at the CVs for the tested methods, as you see here, we really do see that it is the methods with the highest IDs that have the lowest CVs. And so we chose the 4 Thomson 6 millisecond method as the best choice for evaluating the Whisper Zoom methods. And it's actually also for this particular method that we see that we get 4 to 5 points per peak. And this was really good for our quantification. And so we chose this for testing the Whisper Zoom methods. If you want to know more about the Orbitrap Astral performance, check out Alyssa's paper here from last year. But now I'll move on to the evaluation of the Whisper Zoom methods. So here you see that we can actually get the same coverage in half the time. And you see that the 80 SPD Whisper Zoom method performs on par with the Whisper 40 SPD for low input amounts. And you can see it here with the red dotted line that we get more than 20,000 localized phosphorylation sites. And the analysis time is 2 times faster, which is really great. If we look at the number of localized sites relative to the 10 microgram 40 SPD numbers, we really see almost no loss in going 2 times faster for low amounts, so the 5 and 10 microgram. And again, looking at the CVs, we have the highest percentage of low CVs for the 80 SPD, showing a better agreement among replicates for this method. So diving a bit more into the data and the comparison made, we can see that there's definitely no difference among the phosphopeptide enrichment efficiency across the samples, so it's above 90%. And we also see, specifically looking at the 80 SPD, 10 microgram and 1 microgram, that we have the same coverage of classical known motifs flanking the phosphosites. So we have the proline in +1, classical for proline directed kinases, and the arginines in -3 and 5 for PKA, B, and C kinases. So really no difference here, we cover the same. Looking at the histograms of SDY distributions, well, they look more or less similar. However, with more input, we get greater signal intensity, and therefore you also see on the right side that the distributions shift towards lower LFQ intensities. Looking at a heat map of the log2 transformed LFQ intensities across the different input amounts, you can see that we have a good consistency in the IDs, and you can see this by the overlapping area in the heat map for decreasing amounts. Furthermore, we have a really nice correlation among replica across the different input amounts. However, we do see a minor decrease in the correlation for the control samples of the 1 microgram, and it could be related to the very low input. Most importantly, we have IDs, we have good quantification, but we also need to look at whether we get meaningful phosphorregulation. And with this plot, I hope I can convince you that we do. So here I compare the 10 microgram and the 1 microgram on the right. We do see that the 1 microgram, of course, affects the numbers. We only get half the IDs, and it also affects the total number of regulated sites, but more or less in the volcano plot, we see the log2 fold change on the x-axis, which is the ratio between stimulated and non-stimulated samples, and we see the significance on the y-axis. They look more or less the same. The pink dots represent phosphosites that are related to EGFR signaling. We see the same trend for both 10 and 1 microgram, and we also see the more high abundant EGFR phosphotyrosines being regulated to the same extent, whether you go for 10 or 1 microgram. So with that, the brief summary is that with the 80 SPD Whisper Zoom, it can really offer the same coverage, but twice as fast. It's well suited for amounts, and it has a limited compromise compared to the 40 SPD Whisper. We also see this meaningful phosphorregulation down to 1 microgram pre-enrichment input, and the method caters to high throughput phosphoproteomic setups. And I also see here the potential for the 120 SPD in bigger setups in order to really reduce the MS analysis time required. With that, I just want to move into a high throughput application. And here we have used the SPD Whisper Zoom method in a setup where we wanted to profile the phosphor response in triple negative breast cancer cells that were treated with different chemotherapeutic agents. And you see the setup here. So we really have a setup where we have acquired lysates from 9 breast cancer cell lines, 7 of them triple negative, 2 of them hormone receptor positive. They were treated with 8 chemotherapeutic drugs in 2 doses, and each condition had 5 replicate. And you see the different chemotherapeutic agents listed in the table here. So for now, we have not analyzed the proteome, although it's listed here, but I have analyzed for 2 cell lines the phosphoproteome. And here the cells were treated for 1 hour with the chemotherapeutic agents. It was done in 2 48 wells, where the lysate was then pooled into a 96 well. And then we used the OpenTrans robot to process the protein lysates to do pack and on-beat digest. And we took then the digest and proceeded directly to do phosphoproteomics enrichment according to the previous protocol that I went through for you. And then we evotipped the samples onto 96 evotips and analyzed the samples using the EvoSep1 and the Orbitrap Astral mass spectrometer. We used the 80 SPD Whisper Zoom, And the ultimate aim is to identify rational drug combinations. But I really just want to highlight here that we have had a similar setup with some targeted compounds, and here we would, based on a 96-well setup, we would basically move from a 50-hour acquisition to a 24 or 25-hour acquisition with the ADSPD Whisper-Zoom. Along this setup and along the lines of automation, I just want to highlight this paper that was recently out from the group. So if you're really into automation and scalable workflows, you should really check out this paper. So with that, the results are from this analysis on this one cell line is that we actually identified around these 89,000 phosphorylation sites. If we look at those that are robustly localized, the data set is reduced to around 30,000 sites. And if you see here the distribution by amino acid, we really have a nice coverage of even phosphotyrosines. And these sites belong to around 4,800 proteins. What was really great to see was that across the different treatments, low dose, high dose, and the 8 chemotherapeutic agents, we had a consistent identification of phosphorylation sites. And on average, we have more than 25,000 localized sites. And the aim is really to dive into the data now and look into the drug perturbation response. And this is just a brief overview here where we see the significant changes. So it's after doing an ANOVA testing for significance. And it's displayed relative to the DMSO treated control. And here our aim is really to dive into the shared responses, the unique responses among different chemotherapeutic agents. And our ultimate aim is really to identify targets for combination therapy. So here I really see the application of the ADSPD Whisper-Zoom method as a great method to accommodate these high throughput studies that we have going in terms of drug perturbations. So with that, I want to end with some take-home messages. So with the Whisper-Zoom ADSPD, I mentioned it before, I'll mention it again, you get the same coverage, but in half the time. And the new Whisper-Zoom method really do cater to these scalable workflows. So with that, I want to thank you for your attention. And I'm happy to take questions. And I also want, of course, to thank the Olsen Group and also the great collaboration with Evostep.